All right. I posted the agenda one more time in the chat box for those of you who may have come in after I shared that. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started. Welcome to Interactive Google Slides. If you've not already clicked on that agenda, I would encourage you to do so because I got you some little goodies in there so you can play along for a few minutes to see kind of what this session is going to show you. I did make this template be just a little bit more generic for a couple of reasons. Reason number one, because I want to be realistic. I know the expectations from teachers and coaches and everybody else in the fall, we we don't know what that's going to look like yet because things just keep changing and we don't know what to expect. The future is very unknown and it's scary. So I wanted to make it be applicable and easy. I didn't want to make these be something that would take hours upon your time to create. However, after you get the hang of it, you're going to be able to make these look really beautiful. So just keep that in mind. I was trying to be realistic, and I wanted to make sure that I had enough resources to cover different grades. So I had to make a lot. But on the agenda, right here where it says template, if you click on that, it's going to take you to the slides that I'm using. And when you open that up, it's going to ask you to make a copy, kind of like if you did the fourth copy of the agenda. Do it.
Stella,
Can
you hear me? Okay, it's Tam. Okay, I can't get the agenda up, and I'm already lost. So, like, how do I get the agenda up on my side? What did you just say to click on?
In the chat box. So on the Google Meet, click on chat.
Where is the chat box? Like, that's where I can't. Like, I can see you moving things around, but I can't find it on my
right
side
here
to click.
You have to move your mouse around on your screen in order for it to pop up.
Okay, got it. Sorry.
No, you're fine, girl. No worries. All right. So when you make a copy, it's going to automatically give you a copy of these slides specifically for you. And I want to give you just a few minutes to explore through these so you can play around with them at your own pace there for a second. These are all going to be drag and drop slides. So go ahead, and I'm going to put like 5 minutes up on the clock just so you can explore. And if there's not one on there for your content, explore one, and we'll start talking about how to make one like for music and for art and for all the other criteria that maybe I didn't have a chance to get put on there. So I'm going to put 5 minutes up, and if you have questions while you're exploring, hop on the microphone or hop on the chat box and let me know.
I'm only seeing the time right now. I guess I didn't make the copy correctly to.
Dana, did you see the agenda in the chat box?
I did. Oh, not in the chat box, on the screen. Okay. So I have to do it. Is it still there to go back to?
It sure is. And I just posted a URL specifically for the slides too. That way.
Okay. All right. Thanks. And I know I clicked. There's a chat box. Okay.
I know. It's hidden there.
Okay. All righty.
For those of you who may be having a hard time with finding that chat box, if you go up to your search bar, you can type in this URL, bit.ly/SCS slides, and it will open the agenda for you.
Now mine's just saying,
Hey Stella, it's Brandon. If I have a question while I'm
go
exploring,
ahead.
do you want me to ask now or wait?
You can ask now if you want to. That's fine.
So one of my questions is, because I'm not as familiar with Google Slides, but more familiar with PowerPoint. Like if I'm using this in the classroom and I'm putting it like up on my Clever Touch, would I present the slideshow, like show this show? And if so, like that's what I tried to do because I'm thinking PowerPoint. And then when I go to click and drag, it turns some of these into like hyperlinks where you couldn't click and drag. Or how would I actually use it in the classroom
That's a really good
with a
question, and
kid?
one that I figured would come up. So on this, don't go in present mode.
Okay.
So you can have like all of that gray space over to the side that you can use too.
Then do you have problems with like
kids,
stretching it and doing
like,
all kinds of
grabbing the
crazy stuff
corner
with
and
the
then
images?
Helpful here, and I have I've done this with first graders before, and we talked about how to move the pictures, so it's setting up those norms. Like I know that you do, but yeah, I've got some
Okay.
for that.
Thank you.
No worries, thank you. Thank you, Alicia. I really rushed to make them because this summer has been kind of like crazy, crazy busy. And when I put this on the matrix, I was like, oh, I've got all kinds of really great ideas for this. And then, yeah, summer has been busy for technology. So we have about a minute left on the timer. Would it be okay if I go ahead and pause that timer and we can start asking some questions and getting into how we create stuff like this? I say that as I already closed the timer out. Okay. So yeah, all of these pictures that are on these slides are free for reuse, meaning that they're not copyrighted, which is something whenever we start making slides, we really want to make sure that we're respectful of other people's work and not stealing their stuff. I totally understand that. But yeah, I'll show you how to find all the free stuff. So what did you all think so far? Do you think this is something that your kids can do? And I know some of us teach like kindergarten and little bitty people, and my daughter is a little bitty person and she has autism, and I do stuff like this with her a lot. And it's really just showing them, and it takes a little bit of patience, just like whenever we're teaching them how to hold their pencil correctly or how to even turn a computer on. Just like all of that, then it really, after they get the hang of it, it's really easy. Awesome. And I know it works well with middle school, and I know it works well with first graders because I've done it with them. Oh, and third grade, we've done it with third graders too.
I mean, to me, I see it replacing a lot of things that in elementary schools, at least, we do a lot with, like clips, like clothespins and magnets.
Yeah.
And the kids are really doing a lot of this click and drag stuff on tablets already anyways. So it's really just, I think, getting them used to doing it in a different style in the classroom and getting teachers more comfortable with doing it.
Stella, I can.
Awesome.
I love
Yeah.
this, for classroom use. If we do this virtually, they'll be making a copy of the slides. Is there a way then for them to use those and then, for example, capture what their solutions were, and so that we can see their work?
You can do that with Google Classroom. It will automatically force a copy for all of the kids, and they just turn it in that way. And in the Google Classroom session tomorrow, for those of you who are signed up for it, or for those of you who are interested in it, I'm going to be talking about like how to grade stuff or how to make things easier to grade in Google Classroom, because that's one complaint that I hear a lot from teachers is like, well, I can grade things with paper so much quicker. And with virtual learning a huge possibility for the fall, I wanted to make sure that tomorrow's PD session that we really touch base on that. So we will be talking about that tomorrow, the grading part. But I love the discussion going on in the chat. You all are doing a really good job. And please know that these are just a few templates. This is not, whatever you see is not just related to what, like this one's not just related to math. You can change these buttons and make everything be different. So yeah, we're going to talk about how to use this in your content. So
I could see this virtually through Zoom. I'm thinking like, I'm not excited about that at all with 5-year-olds for kindergarten, but I could see this through Zoom with like me sharing my screen, because they can't do this through Google Classroom, but me sharing the screen and me sorting them and maybe giving thumbs up if that goes in the A column, thumbs down if it doesn't belong there. So not giving them the control, but having them still interact and engage with me controlling that screen, especially early on with little kids.
Absolutely. And I know when kindergartners first come to you in August, I know that their skills aren't, anywhere near what they could be, let's say next March when we're back in school and everybody's healthy and normal, please God. So then you could even start thinking about, like with your Clever Touch board, having the kids come up and do it, or even with Chromebooks, we could start thinking about how to get them more familiar with using those if you think that's something your class could be adapted to. So,
Hey,
yeah.
Just out of, I was on my copy, on this particular screen that you have up right now, I drug the 6 over to the right spot and I could see that. But when I drug the 4, I think it was the 4. Yeah, when I drug the 4 over, the drag answer here still showed up. So can you let us know how, because the 6 worked.
Yeah.
Because I just put it right over top of that, the drag answer here, and then I couldn't see drag answer here, but for some reason I could on the 4, and I was hoping you'd tell us how you did that.
I sure will. And it was just an error, but it's an error that we all can learn from. I will explain that part in just a second. So notice that some of my backgrounds, let's see, like this one, I have it to where kids cannot move that background, because we know that in middle school, at least, they would delete it all and be like, I don't know where it all went. So if you want to make something be part of your background, what I always recommend, and now I'm just going to start showing you all how I put all of this together. I always recommend starting off with a blank slide. Let's make it blank. I delete everything out. And then, for instance, with this table that I've done, I just use this little line tool here. And if you hold the Shift key down while dragging, it makes it straight and pretty. And you can use those lines anywhere that you want. You can make them vertical or horizontal. And if you're somebody that is OCD and you want everything to have the exact same space, you can go to View and you can go down to Show Guides or Show Ruler. And it will show you that little ruler up there at the top so you can make sure. Now, once I make something once, I hate recreating it because I want it to look identical. So I always just right click on whatever it is and copy that and then paste. And now I'm just going to move it to wherever I want the other one to be. Okay. And then you just put your text boxes in like you would normally. Text. And then what I do too, another shortcut, if you hold the control button down on any device, Chromebook, laptop, desktop, MacBook, and you drag that text box over, it automatically copies it. So you don't even have to copy and paste if you don't want to. You just hold control down on your keyboard, grab your mouse, and just drag that other text box or picture or whatever it is that you want over. If you want the text box to have an outline, click this pencil, click that black or whatever color you want, and it will make that line. So to get it to be frozen in the background, you go to File, Download, JPEG. Brenda, I'm glad to know that you liked that because I figured that out just a few weeks ago by accident, and I was like, what? Why didn't anybody ever tell me this? Okay, so now what I want to do is click Background, choose Image, and then I can just drag and drop what I downloaded. Click Done, and I can delete that text out because I don't need it anymore. And now my background's not movable. So that sounds like a whole lot of steps, but after you do it once or twice, you're going to get the hang of it and you'll start doing it without even thinking about it. Like it goes a lot faster once you know. And then if you ever,
Stella,
yeah.
real quick, what did you do to make it not movable?
So I downloaded that slide. I went to File, Download, and then download as a JPEG. And
Okay.
JPEG. And then when you click Background and choose Image, if it doesn't show up down here, you can always click Browse, and if you just downloaded it, it's going to be like your most recent download. Well,
Got it.
maybe.
Okay, thanks. Sorry.
No, you're fine. And then I just dragged and dropped it there. And then I deleted those texts off. So it's really easy to get that not movable part in the background. And then over to the side, to find these free pictures, Google has something already built into slides where you can find those free pictures at. And it's called this little Explore key down here at the bottom. If you click on that, just to show you again, right there, that little star. If you click on that, it's got a search box. So let's say that I am doing, let's see, words. Or I want to do something with social studies. Y'all give me a topic. Photosynthesis. Okay, that's fine. I can do photosynthesis. So let's say that I want to do photosynthesis. So I could talk about things that plants need living, like sunlight. I did my search. I can click images, and all of these pictures are free for reuse for education. So you can click on it, click that plus sign, and it's going to automatically put it on your slide. And typically it makes it huge. So you can drag those corners together to make it be smaller. And the beautiful thing about Google Slides is, just like with Microsoft too, you can use this gray area over here, because even though if you're on present mode, it won't show, but just like what you all seen, when you made a copy, all the stuff inside of the gray area was also copied. And then students can drag and drop those pictures automatically over there. If it's something that, like, let's say that it's vocabulary that you have up here, and you have the vocabulary definitions and you want them to drag and drop those. We're going to act like I can spell this morning. Just like what we saw with those text boxes up there, I can hold down my control button and drag that text box to make it be exactly the same size, and I can give it the next definition, and then the students can drag and drop those over there. So, with that being said, yes.
Sorry, just real quick, back to kind of Brandon's question earlier about kids messing things up when they drag and drop. Could you do the same thing with that little text box that says definition 1 that you did earlier, and download that little piece and make it an image?
It's even easier, and that's exactly where I was going to go. It's like you're reading my mind.
Okay.
So, if you are on a Chromebook, I have this picture saved here. Okay, if you're on a Chromebook, there is a keyboard shortcut that will allow you to do a screenshot. I just opened it like 8 times. If you're on the Chromebook, that keyboard shortcut is Control, Shift, and the slider button, or the button right above the 6. I wanted to make sure that I showed that, and I will share that in the notes as well, the agenda. But I wanted to make sure I show that because if you are using your work Chromebook, that keyboard shortcut is amazing. So I'm going to go back to my slides now. Since I'm on a PC, you can hold down the Windows key, the Shift and S, and it's going to let you see those little crosshairs that popped up there, that little plus sign. I can drag over whatever I want, and it's going to automatically copy it. Okay. Now I can press Control V, the shortcut for paste, and now that box is not editable. Like they cannot go in there and change the words. Could they do this and turn it upside down? Yeah. But show students the Control Z shortcut. And Control Z is the shortcut for undo. So they can always get those back. And if they ever accidentally delete something, they can press that Control Z button as well, and it will come back. And they can keep pressing it over and over until they are able to find out where they accidentally deleted something. They can also click on where it says last edit was seconds ago, and it's going to open up the version history. And you could go ahead and name this before you give it to them. So like you could name the beginning template as beginner. Mr. Smith's first copy or whatever you want to call that. And it's going to automatically be there. Okay, so that's kind of the generic, simple T-chart, like drag and drop way to do things. But sometimes, yes, middle schools are hackers. Sometimes we have some slides that are very complicated. They have a lot of things on them, and we don't want to have to recreate that every time. So an example of this would be, these two are very similar. I just changed it from strawberry to football, and I left the text box be kind of squared so I could remember to talk about this one. And I'm using the same ruler, and I'm basically using the same text box. I'm using really a lot of the same stuff. So instead of going in and recreating that wheel, you can right-click on that slide and click Duplicate Slide. And now you've got your next slide, and you can just delete that picture out and make that picture be whatever it is that you want. Maybe a lemon. Find a good one. I always like to put clip art if I look through and I'm like, well, those aren't really good. Okay, I'll just do this one. Make it be whatever size that you want. And then just go up here, and I just added in a new text box over that word and made that text box have a white background, so it kind of blurred out the strawberry, and wrote lemon. And if the font bothers you being a different size, you can always change it to whatever font size you had in the previous slide. So then students can just drag and drop and get the use of that ruler if they want to, or whatever it is that they're using. All right, so I have some questions over here. And I want to read through those. The menu bar, are you talking about like over here to the side, Brandon?
I'm talking about
Or-
like everything besides the like file, edit, all of that. Is there a way to hide everything except the slide part, or not really?
They can by doing this. You see that little caret that I've got my pointer on right there?
Yeah.
So that'll hide most of that stuff up there at the top.
And can you hide the whole like Chrome browser stuff too, or not? You'd have to individually like hide your bookmarks and all that, or not really? Just make it full screen. Okay, I'm thinking the more like for little kids, the more I could take away that might accidentally get hit, the better.
I'm going to add a note to myself to explore if there's a way that we can manipulate the URL to automatically do that.
Yeah, that would
I
be
know-
awesome.
That sounded really too professional to come out of my mouth. I want to see if there's a way we can make it be automatically full screen for our little people. I know that just like there's a way for me to manipulate my URLs at the top to force a copy for you all, then it would be, there should be a way to make it automatically be full screen. And if anybody knows that shortcut, please tell me. I would love to know. So let's see. Karen said, I used these in Google Classroom at the end of last year. Several times the slides came back to me blank and didn't show their work. The students said they completed them, but I couldn't see it. What were they doing wrong? So Karen, maybe one thing I would recommend, because as a teacher, when they turn it in, you're going to be able to see that edit revision or edit version history there. So I would go into that and you can click this little button here. It looks like the play button. And you can see a play-by-play of how they did and what they did. So like, for instance, if I go in right now and I do something that a middle school student probably would do because they've done it before, and I'm just going to go through here and I just delete it all. They're all gone. I can go to that version history and click that little down button and see what it was like at 9:27 and what it was like at 9:30. And I'm like, oh, that's where all of the slides went missing at because you deleted them. And if there's multiple people working on it, you'll be able to see who it was that deleted it. Carter says, so they would actually drag the lemon over the ruler to measure it. Absolutely. If you want them to be able to do that, you totally can. So they could just drag it over. And that ruler was free. So I found that on that little search. Yes, yes, I love it. Okay, so one other thing that I know, because we have some people in here who have PDFs saved to their computers. And you have things that's already created, so why do you need to create your own background? Go over and open yourself up a new slide. And you can change the size of your slide. You can make it be a paper length if you want to. So to do that, you go to File, and you go to Page Setup. It's going to automatically make this be a widescreen 16:9. So you click Custom. And if you want it to be paper size, and this is great too if you want to make your own like manipulatives to print off, you can make it be paper size so you can actually print these. And it's easier to work with Google Slides than it is to work with Google Docs for adding pictures and other elements. So custom size 8.5 by 11 and click Apply. And do this before you upload your PDF, because if you do upload your PDF onto here and then you stretch it, it's going to make it look exactly like what you can imagine. So that's how you can change the background to make it be bigger or smaller. So now what you can do is find your PDF. So I don't have any PDFs added to my computer, but if I did, I could just go and find that PDF. I'm just going to find one. Just find one online. So this is a good digital citizenship lesson anyways. So if we just look up PDFs for math online and we just take it, we need to make sure that it's labeled free for reuse. So if you ever wonder how to do that, you can go to Settings, oh, sorry. You can, oh, images. Okay, that's what I want. So I'm looking for pictures because I've got PDFs on there. I want to go to more. Okay, let me restart. I'm looking at PDFs. I go to images. I go to tools. Under tools, I can look at usage rights, and then I could look for stuff that's labeled for reuse with modification. And it's going to take those, it's going to take it down significantly. So if you don't have any PDFs on your computer that are great, then I'm sorry. Just make sure, I don't want to teach you all bad habits, but let's pretend that this is perfect. This is exactly what I want to teach my middle schoolers here. I can take a screenshot of that, or I could just right click and copy that image since it's labeled for reuse. And I can come over to my Google slide and I can paste that in there. And then just like what we've done before, I can file, download, save that as a JPEG and make it the background, and then they can have the edit rights to that. I know that some of you have to have better PDFs that you've bought off Teachers Pay Teachers, or you've created, or you just have them saved to your computer. I would highly recommend those and not this chemical reaction formulas here. So you can take pictures, and just like what we did with taking a picture of those text boxes, if you ever find a picture and it's like in a PDF form, you can just use your keyboard shortcuts for taking pictures and do that and copy and paste that way. So do you all have any questions so far? Because I have a few more things up my sleeve. And I know this session is kind of rushed. I should have made it a 2-hour session. There's so much I could go into. Okay. If you're typing your question and I'm going too fast, you just keep typing and let me know. You send in your question and I'll get you an answer. So down here at the bottom is another great example of how beautiful that right click and duplicate button can be, because you can then move your little points around and make it just be easier. If you need to move something, like to rotate it, the lines are a little bit harder to rotate, but you can totally just change that direction by dragging the little dots at the end. It's perfect. Let's see, there was one here. Okay, so if you did not get a chance to play around with this one, because this one's kind of a high school example, you can drag these boxes over, and normally when we do something like that, the boxes kind of cover the text message, but you can make the text boxes be highlighters, so it's kind of transparent, and the students can still see, and you can still see when you're looking at what they've done, how to, or what they've highlighted. So to do that, these are actually just shapes. So to add a shape, you click this little button here with the circle and the square, and there's all kinds of shapes already in there. So you've got your typical shapes with your 3D and all of that good stuff. I'm just going to use the rectangle for now, and I'm clicking and I'm dragging it to make it as big as I want, and it automatically makes it gray, which I'm okay with it, but I want it to be transparent because I don't want students like to block out the words, which would be beautiful for blackout poetry. You could totally do that. But you click the square, or the rectangle, sorry, and you know the bucket that we're used to seeing. You click on that. And all of these colors up here are solid. They won't be able to see through them. To get it to be transparent, you go down here to this little plus sign, click it, make it be whatever pretty color you want. So I'm going to go with hot pink. And underneath that slider, you have transparency. So you can just slide it and slide it down to where it's a little bit more transparent, and click OK, And now you have a beautiful transparent box. And the students can also make the box be however large that they want to be. So they can make it fit that text or that answer to that question. Teddy, I'm going to come back to your question in just a second because I have that linked. Okay. So you can do that with all of your shapes, whether it be one of these fancy little call outs here. And notice now that I have a shape already transparent, because that's the last color that I used on this specific slide, all other colors are going to be the same. And if I want to make it be different, I can just click that custom again, and it's still got my last color that I picked in there. So it's going to have like that same transparency, and I just change it over. So Kennedy, don't let me forget to come back to your question in just a moment. Charlene says, can you demonstrate how to draw on a slide like circle and answer? Absolutely. And for little people, I need to make a new session because Mark Roberts just opened up something awesome. So this one might be a little bit more difficult for our kinders, first and second graders, just to be completely transparent, no pun intended, with you all. But you watch and determine what you think, because I want to know your opinions on this. So you can draw on a slide. To do that, you go to, you go to the little line button here that we use to draw a straight line. And you click this little caret beside of that. Now, all the way at the end, you have the scribble button. And what that does is turns the mouse into a pen, or, a way for you to draw. And then the students can use that to draw all over their screen. The only hard thing is they have to remember to then go back and click the select button, or else whenever they try to use their mouse again, it's going to continue to have that scribble function. That makes sense. Now, if you don't like the thickness of whatever we've put on here, like if it's a shape or if it's a scribble, then you can always click on whatever the item is, and you can add yourself a beautiful thicker border. So to do that, you just hit the border weight beside of the pencil, and you can make it be thicker. Charlene, did that answer your question? Okay.
Yes, yes. I was actually thinking of like when I like presenting online, so that when I'm controlling the screen and I'm sharing my screen, I could.
Oh yeah.
I could point, direct the students to what I'm doing.
Absolutely. And if you're using like Screencastify, you do have that tool in there that's built in to where you can draw on your screen. But if you're doing a Google Meet, then that would totally work. Okay, so I had a question from Kennedy about interactive Google Slides. So just for an example, if you, agenda over here, if you follow the Instructional Technology Facebook, I posted this template from Slides Mania a bit ago, and it's the calendar. And Kennedy, I think this is similar to what you're talking about, and I'm going to show you how to create your own too, but this is how it works. You have this template. Here, template. There it is. So you have this template. This one's already pre-created for you, and you can click Use Template. And when students click on days of the week over here, it automatically is changing. So Hit present mode. Make it do its work. When you click on those icons, it's going to automatically send them to another slide within this same slide deck. That is really easy to do. You can do that so easily. So if you want to use this template that is listed inside of the matrix, it's right here, that calendar button. And if you're using this matrix, or sorry, this example, you can just go in to wherever they have text boxes and you can erase what they have and change it to whatever you do. You can change the calendar out if you want to do that just by changing that month. And you might have to put in a new calendar because it's just got that embedded on there. But you can totally do it. And they've got tons and tons and tons of stuff. So if you want to make your own, I'm just going to go to this blank presentation that I have here. Get it back to the custom. And let's say that I have 5 slides. And I'm just going to have like some pictures on here. Put a picture. Just so I can remember which slides that I want to send to. So, okay. So let's say that on Monday, I want them to go to slide number 2 automatically just by clicking on it. I'm going to highlight whatever text that I have that I want them to click on. And I will be able to insert link. Hang on, it's trying to get me to go. Okay, so underneath, whenever I click in this text box, it says slides in this presentation. So let's pretend that slide number 2 has my agenda on it for Monday of this week. I'm going to click apply. Okay, let's pretend that I want Tuesday to go to slide number 3. I'm just going to highlight that, click this link, or you can use the keyboard shortcut Control-K, and then click the X button. I don't want it to go to slide 2. I want this one to go to slide 3. So I would do that over and over again. Now let me just put a picture on this one just to make it make sense. Search. Okay. Dang it. When you got fast fingers, it makes things so much more difficult. So let's just pretend we sent this template out to our kids, and it's way prettier than what we just did right now, but they can click on this and it's going to take them to that page. If you want to have a little home button, you can insert that into your slides and they can always return back to that first slide button. They don't have to be a home, but that's just what always pops into my head. Slide in this presentation, and I want it to go to first slide. Okay, so present, and then they can always click that home button in order to get back to, well, if I'd done it correctly, if I put the link in there correctly, it would take them back to that first slide. Does that make sense? So, Alicia, yes. If you want to force it to be a present instead of showing them how to do present, because I know with little people it's really hard to be like, go and press the present button. You can always share things out with them. I'm going to this one because it's prettier. You see on this URL where it says edit, you can delete all of that, just highlight it and press backspace, and then put present there. And then whenever you share that link and they click on it, it's going to automatically give it to them in present mode. So they don't have to worry about that, finding that present button. If they don't need it, then don't give it to them. I mean, you know, like if it makes it easier.
Stella, can you add a button? Maybe it would have to be a set slide, but I'm thinking like, let's say I had 10 frames on a slide and I had counters and I was calling out numbers and I wanted them to put the counters in. Could I add a button kind of to reset and move the counter to the slide, or would I just have to have a home screen that had the counters placed on the side? Does that make sense, what I'm asking?
Hmm.
Would it be easier to just have like a home screen with them stationary on the side and go back to that?
I think that would probably be easier. Like if you had a little button down here in the corner that you called reset,
Correct.
and then you just had them click on that. I think
Instead
that
of
would
me
be-
having to reload the template every time or something.
I agree. Like you totally could do that.
Yeah,
You could
okay.
go into the version history, but to me it would make the most sense if you had just and it could even be a different slide. It could even be like a whole different Google Slides presentation
Okay.
if you wanted to be. And then if you ever want to do kind of like what I do for our agendas, you know how we've got these, and I always force that copy to. You could always just go in to where it says edit, change that to copy, and that's how you get people to force copy something that they need. The only thing is, before you do either of those, make sure that you do go into the share settings, and it's going to force me to give my ugly slides there a title, but change it to where anyone with a link can view if you teach elementary, because we know that those babies are using their parents' devices, and anything that we can do to make our teachers get less emails, I'm all for it. And anything we can do to make families have less headaches, I'm all for that too. So click it to anyone with the link can view, and that right there will take away any problems that you have with those restrictions of them not being able to see it.
Hey, where did you go to click on that just for anybody to get the view?
So when you click like this slide presentation, you see how it's got the lock on there right now? That means that it's private. Only I can see it. If I click on that, it opens up this window. And then when it loads, where it says get link, you have to click change the link to Franklin County Schools. But if you want to change it to anybody, that little drop down menu beside of that, and then anyone with the link.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. And if you're using this with Google
So-
Classroom, you can force a copy and you don't have to worry about that. But that's really only important when you're trying to change it to that present mode.
So when you put it into Google Classroom, how does it populate for
So
each
I have a
student?
session tomorrow over Google Classroom, and you can
Okay.
force the copy for each kid directly when you make an assignment.
So you'll,
I
Okay,
sure
so you're gonna
will,
go over
and I
that
will be
tomorrow.
happy to have you there.
cool. I'll be
Thank
there.
you so much, Dawn. And for those of you who cannot join tomorrow, I do have a PD session on the Matrix for go at your own pace Google Classroom, and it will show you how to do that as well. So I have some questions over here, and I feel like I'm missing a lot of stuff from the presentation, but I do want to be respectful for y'all's time. I'm going to post the PD sign-in form and my PD feedback form into the chat box in just a second. The sign-in form, make sure that you fill that out if you're an SES teacher especially, because that's how I get your PD turned into center office. The feedback form is completely anonymous, and I use it for my own professional growth. After I post those, I am going to stick around and answer questions, but I want to make sure that people who have prior obligations after 10 can get to those. And if anybody wants to hop on their microphone, I can multitask while I'm getting those PD links to you. I also made sure that I had the correct session title on this one, so I know some of you all are going to be very proud of me for that. Okay, there's the sign-in form. And the second link will be the anonymous feedback. If I could spell feedback. Come on. Thank you all so much. Holly said you can also do what you just did to make a new copy for students in Google Classroom. Oh, yep, absolutely. I love Google Classroom for all of its accessibility. Like, it's just the best. I think I've answered all the questions, but if I left something out, you all please let me know, because I don't want to.
Hey, Stella, this is Alicia Laws. I just want to thank you, and I probably speak for all the teachers. All the sessions that you've done this summer, whether recorded or live, that I've gotten to participate with you, they have just been spot on. They've been so what we need, and especially in this season of life that we're in right now. And I think if you could see us all, we would be applauding you right now, because we're just so appreciative for all the work you've put in this summer. Thank you so much.
That means more to me than you could ever know. Thank you. Like, I'm gonna cry for real. Thank you so much. You all are really the best. I always say all the time, all of the hours that I've put in this summer, it's been totally worth it, because all of you have just, the feedback that you've given me, it's helped me grow, and I love being able to share. So I love what I do. Thank you all. I know that we still have some people in here too that
Stella.
are not from Franklin County. So if you are interested in any of our other sessions, feel free to jump on to this PD Matrix. We have a lot more coming up, and we have some on-demand sessions as well. So you are more than welcome to join us at any time. Sorry, I cut somebody off.
Oh, Stella. This is Dina. Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hi, Dina.
Oh, okay. I am actually working in summer school, so I don't want the PD credits. I'm just, I'll do my PD another time so that it counts as work. So should I still sign in the sign-in sheet, or would that make it kind of complicated?
I always just
Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. I copy and paste directly from the sign-in sheet to CJ. So if you don't want to get your PD hours now, you can wait and do some later.
Uh-huh.
That's fine.
Okay, so don't fill it out. Okay.
Yeah, you don't
All
have
right,
to. If
thank
don't
you.
want. No worries. Thank you for that.
Okay.
Kristen, are you still in here? Because if you are, I will be sending this video out. I'm going to get it uploaded to YouTube. Let me go ahead and stop the recording. That way it gets to me quicker. I'm going to upload to YouTube, and I will send a link out. It will probably be tomorrow, but yes, you will get